Hello Internet. Welcome to another episode of Romney's Reviews. Like last week, this is another double review, but hopefully it won't be as long as that last episode, because, well, yeesh. So yeah, first up, we're taking a look at the newly released Premium Rush. Now, this film, best way I can describe it, it's heavy on concept, but light on development. I mean, an action movie with chase scenes involving bikes, that's actually pretty creative, and there were some pretty creative chase scenes, but there were a lot of story elements that they introduced that I wish they had developed a bit further, or at least established a bit more. I mean, true, they like say, oh, we look out for each other and stuff, but you never really see that camaraderie among the bike messengers until like you see a little bit at the beginning and only mostly at the end, but it's not something that's very established or developed very well. Like, there are some things that they try to bring full circle, but they never really started the circle in the first place. I mean, and there's a lot of the characters that they introduce but don't really develop. The only one they really focus on is the main character, which makes sense, but even then they like have all these other characters that have their own little quirks, and they kind of expect us to automatically be invested in them, but we don't really know them all that well. I think part of the reason that there's some problems with it is that, best way to put it, this film really feels like a very smaller budget production, because there's a lot of things that you feel they should have done, but they didn't, and you can probably tell that they didn't because they didn't have a lot of money to do a lot of different things. Although the stunts and stuff look pretty cool, a lot of it is just really simple stuff, which again, simple stuff can work, then the simple stuff does look good, but just this film, you can tell that they didn't have a lot of money for a lot of other stuff, except for maybe Joseph Gordon-Levitt's paycheck, and that's about it. The big thing, which again is probably the biggest point of the film, the stunts and the chase scenes, that actually looked pretty cool. I mean, a lot of the stuff you see with the bikes and kind of how they wheedle through, it's kind of like a lot of the parkour chase scenes we've been seeing in action films in recent years. So yeah, the film story is a little bit rough, could have been refined a little bit more. The action scenes are pretty cool and pretty creative. It has some pretty funny moments, but it's like it couldn't decide whether it was trying to be all serious or all comedy. It was kind of trying to be both, but not really working. So, for Premium Rush, on my personal scale, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 5, because, again, it's a pretty decent, it's a good film. I was entertained, it was fun to watch, but not really something you want to rush out to the theaters right away to see. I'd probably wait for it to be in dollar theaters, or maybe rent it one night on Netflix or something. But again, it's a fun film to watch, but it has its flaws. That's pretty much that. All I have to say about Premium Rush is that good film, kind of flawed, wait for it to be in the dollar theaters. So that's it for this week's episode of Romney's Reviews. Hopefully it's a little bit shorter than last week's, and so it won't be as big when it comes to trying to watch it. So yeah, next week that we've got on the chopping block is going to be a single review. I'm going back to my single reviews thing. The double thing was just by happenstance. So next week I'm going to be reviewing Lawless. See you then.